Yeah, this was interesting that you're sitting in the airport and you're thinking about this author. Oh, so what happens? What comes inside you, like saying that, okay, I can do it later. I want to relax now. My wife is coming and I have to have a vacation. At that moment, you are thinking about this. Uh,
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where so Builder has been a project that I've had in the back of my mind
Mm,
probably for the last 2.5 years.
mm,
So I've worked in Marketing Cloud for 6 years. In that amount of time, I've kind of compiled all these like issues and all of these things that I want to solve for.
mm,
So when I got my position at Avigate, which is my current company,
mm,
and my boss was like, "So I want to work on this project," and it was literally one to one exactly what I wanted to work on. Um,
mm,
you know, when you get that opportunity, you go full drive, or at least I do.
uh,
Like, I have this mentality of like, if I get to work on a passion project for work that's going to be open source that I can like just share this out with people, like my mentality is I want to make this the best project that I can, the best implementation that I can.
mm,
And part of that is taking in user feedback and being able to implement it quickly so that, that interest in it doesn't fizz out. Um,
mm,
you know, Obviously keeping in mind that it's an open source project, it's something that we're not charging for, it's not a paid product, but it's something that, I want to be proud to stamp my name on it, um,
mm,
and put Advocate's name on it. So if there's a feature like that that's like a huge blocker for somebody to be able to use it, I want to try and break that barrier down.
mm.
So
Yeah,
I don't know. And it
yeah,
was
I
one of
can.
those things where I was like, this is fresh in my mind. And I've got, hours to kill before my wife even gets
Mm,
here. What else am I gonna do? I don't want to like sit there and like doom scroll through TikTok. I want to be
mm,
productive with that, right?
yeah.
Um, so that's I don't know. I'm weird like
Mhm.
that. I just keep going.
Uh, whenever you feel bored, you use TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok, if you go to the rabbit hole for the TikTok for the privacy, then you'll see, what all things they are collecting from you.
Oh,
They are,
absolutely. It's a
yeah, they
terrible
have a
app, but
very,
it's one of those pleasure apps that I just sit there and I just
okay. So, uh, I can understand, like, it becomes a passion project, what you wanted to do, and now you're getting an opportunity to build it, right? So definitely that love for that, dedication and love, definitely it always be there. And uh, so, hope you didn't thought too much during the vacation, or did your wife like what you are doing, Tony? Stop this.
no, she supports me, man. It's fun because she supports me in the endeavors that I take on and the effort that I do put into this stuff because she sees, um, you know, my drive and my passion for it. Um,
Mm,
and I don't know, she's awesome. She, like I said, she supports me in everything that I do. And like, obviously, when she got to the airport and she came in, laptop
mm,
closed, it was put away for like the whole weekend, like didn't touch it at all.
mm,
Um, so I try to always have that separation. But
mm.
no, she supports me in everything that I've been able to accomplish and the effort that I've put into it. So it's been cool.
Sometimes when you are so much engaged with this, and you're very busy, right? Like when we are having some issue, what I feel, when I'm having an issue, I want to first actually solve that issue. Before that, without solving, I am not able to move around or
Yeah.
be enjoying other things, right? So at that moment, uh, this your wife does not, she says, Tony, sometimes you have to relax.
Yeah. No, absolutely. She gets on my case all the time because I'll always be sitting on the couch on my computer doing stuff, and she's like, you know, put it away and hang out. I'm like, all right.
Mm,
So I listen to her, but yeah, she definitely makes sure that I have balance.
mm,
And it's definitely something that I've had to get used to.
mm,
I've being agency side, when I used to do like full on client work,
mm,
um, you know, I could take that feedback from clients or the issues that clients have and compartmentalize that into my working hours. Um,
mm,
with something like Builder, it's been interesting because even though it's a project that I'm doing supported by Advocate, so there are the support behind it, it's still kind of like it's supported by Advocate, but it's my passion project and it's something that I like really, really care about. So when I
mm,
see an issue come through on GitHub and I see that notification come through on my phone, I'm like, oh, okay. Now I have this in my mind of like,
mhm,
what could the issue be? How can I solve this issue? And my mind starts going. Um,
mm.
it's definitely a balance that I've been trying to keep that a little bit more separated, but still kind of creeps in.
Yeah, actually, yeah. What happens is when you know your partner, each other, they will also understand like the person you are. So everybody has the respect for that.
Mhm.
They'll say, okay, I know you, and you will be this way, and I'm going to accept the way you are.
Right.
So that happens both the ways. So uh, you know, what was actually I was thinking here was okay, you are very ingrained with this, okay, and then uh, suddenly you saw some issue, okay, or say this way, not an issue. Let's say you found some very good solution to it. You said, "Oh, this is fantastic! I cracked this." Okay, and when you feel this, okay, now I got it. So it will be you first go to your wife and say, "See, so I found something interesting," and you try to explain her about marketing cloud.
Oh,
Does that happen?
all the time. Um, she comes home from work. She does environmental science at a lab that's local here. So our two worlds couldn't be
Mm,
more dissimilar, right?
mm,
She's science and all that kind of stuff, and I'm tech. So we come home and she tells me about her day, all the stuff she has done, completely over my head. I tell her stuff that I'm doing. She's like, yep, okay. It's one of those things where like we we definitely show interest in each other's careers and what we're doing and like what we're passionate about and
mm,
interested in. But each one of us has to take that extra time to say, you know, kind of break things down to that lower common denominator to say, here's what it is and here's what it means.
mm,
Um, and that's on both sides of it. But I mean,
yeah.
like I said,
So,
she's a trooper and she tries to understand what's going on and she like kind of starts to get it. And then
mm,
once once I start explaining it to a way and then it starts to click, she's like, "Oh, that's really cool." Um,
mm,
I'm like, there's things in both of our careers where it's like we'll start to
mm,
explain something, and
mm,
then once it starts to click, like you kind of start to understand like the gravity of it and like
mm,
the impact that it has and like why you're doing it. Um, and then it just kind of becomes obvious and it's more of just like I don't want to say like a blind support, but it's like even though
yeah.
you don't understand it, you understand the impact that it has for other people.
Mm.
Um, so then you kind of support it a little bit more.
So,
It was
yeah.
kind of the way when I first started doing the Salesforce Marketing Champions program.
Mm,
Um, she's like, "Well, why are you putting in all this effort to put out content and be like active in this community? Like, what's the
mm,
benefit of it and what's the draw to it?"
mm,
Um, and then she started seeing me be a part of like the Dreamforce speaking and the connection speaking and like the webinars and you know I tell her how many people are on these events and how
mm,
many people that I'm reaching and helping, and then she's like, "Oh, I might not get like what you're doing or like what the like solid value is out of it, but I see that you're
mm,
helping all these other people." So
mm,
then, that support goes from like, yeah, I support you in what you want to do, to actually supporting me in like what I'm doing, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
understanding that like when I'm sitting on the couch writing a blog article or writing, putting into effort to a side project or something that's for the program or for Salesforce users or email
Mm,
users, like she understands the value and the gravity of that. Um,
mm,
and the why I have the passion for it. So
yeah. Obviously. So when you have a partner, right? So their validation is very much important. And
mhm,
once they recon with your what you are doing, okay, they understands you, then you'll be more comfortable, and if somebody they don't understand, then obviously it becomes little difficult to deliver also.
yeah,
First, so they are the most important person, right? So they have to first understand that, and that having those partner is very good. Not only good, is the best thing to have.
yeah. It makes it a lot easier to be able to, like I said, have that balance. And she's not afraid to call me out. She's not.
Yeah. Uh,
She supports me a lot, but she's not afraid to call me out when I need to step away, which is
mm.
very important for me.
Okay. So let's go to this BLDR now. Okay,
Yeah,
as we are discussing there. So uh, this is a open source,
correct.
right? And uh, if you can explain me about this BLDR, let's see. All the people who are not familiar, they will get familiarized with this.
Sure. Yeah. So Builder is a project that I have wanted to build for probably 2 years. Um, Working in Salesforce Marketing Cloud, I have personally had my browser refresh on me and I've lost work. I have had, so in Salesforce Marketing Cloud, everything is web based text editors,
Mm,
it's all in your browser. So when your browser refreshes when you're in the middle of work, you can lose, hours worth of work if you haven't saved it. If even if you do save it and you make an update and it's the wrong update, you have a syntax error, something, and you move on, and it blows up. Um,
mm,
in Marketing Cloud, there's no version control. Like there's no
mm,
rollback. There's no way to get back to historical content. Um, in standard software development, there's version control. So you have your GitHub,
mm,
your AWS code commit, you have Bitbucket, GitLab, whatever. So when I was back at Trendline, we used code commit. So
mm,
I took all my projects that I was working on and I moved them over to be able to use code commit. When I was doing that, the amount of copying and pasting that you have to do is astronomical. When you're
mm,
trying to make small changes, you say, "Oh, I'll just jump into the browser and I'll do it there, add the
mm,
comma, semicolon, whatever," and you move on. You forget to bring it back to your version control. So you
mm,
have essentially two sources of truth, basically.
mm,
You have what's in Marketing Cloud and what's in version control.
mm,
Then when you go to roll things back, again, you have to copy and paste everything over, making sure things are right. So the drive behind Builder was to remove that friction between version control and Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Um,
mm,
so with Builder, what it allows you to do is when you're working on a project, when you're working on a set of emails, whatever, right? Um, it allows you to take what you have in Marketing Cloud or
mm,
scaffold a project from scratch and work 100% in your local text editor. What that
mm,
means is that you can now leverage version control from the start and you don't have to copy and paste into Marketing Cloud. So what Builder
mm,
allows you to do is create your files or update your files and then push them directly into Marketing Cloud through the APIs. And
mm,
then your changes are reflected in Marketing Cloud. Never
mm,
having to copy and paste, never having to wonder what is your most up to date. And then you can turn around, commit that to version control, roll that back and push it back into Marketing Cloud if you need to, update your assets. So it really kind of takes that standard like software and web development workflow and allows you to utilize that for Salesforce Marketing Cloud.
Yeah.
Um,
It's more of an auto commit with the repository, right?
yeah, definitely. It's you're able to. It doesn't do any like it doesn't make the opinion of you want to commit and push this into Marketing Cloud. You have to make that decision for you, for
Mm,
yourself. But it allows you to, in the same breath, essentially say, I want to commit this to version control and I want to push this to Marketing Cloud. So, for
mm,
example, if you are working on something and troubleshooting an issue,
mm,
Marketing Cloud doesn't have a local runtime environment. So you have to
mm,
push it into Marketing Cloud to test it, right?
mm,
So what Builder kind of allows you to do is make your updates locally, push it
mm,
into Marketing Cloud, test it. Once you have um, that working version or your fix implemented, then you can take it, push to your Git version control with your commit to say this commit fixes X, Y, and Z bug or whatever. And then you have that snapshot of what that fix is in version control.
mm,
Um, so it definitely kind of takes a little bit of adjusting of your workflow. Um,
mm,
but it definitely gives you more flexibility in that safety net of being able to actively version control your projects,
mm.
as well as remove that friction of having to copy and paste everything into Marketing Cloud. um,
Uh,
so
did you, I know, I think you haven't maybe watched one session that my first session that happened, okay, with
mhm,
Mathis. And
mhm.
Mathis works for Cloud Kettle, okay, under Elot Harbor. And he was showcasing me one version control they are creating in Marketing Cloud.
Okay.
Okay, so they are using some, So I'll suggest you. Maybe I don't know. Either these two somehow it is relating to me. Your version, okay, and the Mathis what is showing. There's some similarity there.
So I've not seen. Uh, are you which?
Mm,
Uh,
Matheswaran, okay. Uh, there is if you go to my channel, there is a video for Matheswaran, and the
okay.
very at the it though is 1.5 hours discussion, but at
Sure.
the end of the session, he was demonstrating me something, okay, where Elliot Harper is actually one of the main idea behind that project.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I mean,
yeah,
I'm not familiar with that, but if there's other version control software out there for interacting with Marketing Cloud, that's fantastic. I mean,
yeah.
I know that there's actually a VS Code plugin that can do something similar. Um,
No, that part of that was MGML with that
mhm,
MGML is different. And this version control is they are using some. I have to recollect exactly the word. Okay, it's something to
sure.
Chrome extension. There is something that they are making a copy. Okay, and he actually demonstrated few things. Like what he did was he created an email, okay, and he saved it, and that during the save operation, okay, they are
Okay.
having different versions, and if they have to revert back, there is a process. So
Is
some way
this
there is a interconnection, what I feel, between what you're saying, okay,
sure?
and what he was demonstrating. There is maybe you can have a look, and
Yeah.
and
Is that a Chrome extension that is handling that?
Uh, no, or not
No.
exactly Chrome extension, but yeah, I also have to once again because it was
Yeah.
maybe 2 3 months back when I had this conversation. So I
Sure.
have to basically go back and again revise it properly, that what he actually said, because we were
Yeah.
having a conversation for 1.5 hours. So
Yeah.
uh, I have to
Yeah. I mean,
recollect.
and
But
that's the beauty of it, right? And that's the beauty of open source projects as well, is that there could be another two or three efforts that pop up that handle version controlling and a workflow for Marketing Cloud in a different way that might
mm,
suit your needs better than the next person.
mm,
So it's definitely a big enough space for multiple solutions. Absolutely.
mm, yeah,
Um, and for me, And I've had this conversation with a handful of other people of like, there are other solutions out there that do version controlling as well. Like I said, there's a
Mm,
VS Code
mm,
plugin. I think Accenture has their open source project as well. Um, and Builder is different than either of
mm,
those. There's
mm,
similarities for sure, but Builder is different than either of those in that, it handles projects a little bit differently. It handles the version controlling a little bit differently,
mm,
and it gives the user a different experience.
mm.
Um, and like I said,
Yeah, what I actually was I trying to relate, I have a little bit of memory that I have a very strong memory, I feel. Okay. So what I was this first you said like there was Elliot Harper who gave you a feedback.
mhm,
Hmm. Maybe he liked that idea, and out of that idea, they also started to build. It is still
maybe,
not released, by the way. By the way, it is still not
mhm,
released, still on development, and they are
yeah,
doing a testing.
yeah,
Okay. So that's why I would thought like, okay, this obviously Elliot Harper, he is a man of mechanics, so he will always, always see he wants to do something,
yeah,
very wonderful things that he does. So definitely, maybe your idea might have struck him. That's my personal opinion. Okay.
yeah, maybe. It. I'm gonna first off, if somebody the likes of Elliot Harper looked at one of
Mm,
my projects and said, "Oh, that's a really cool idea, and it can also be implemented this other way as well," that to
mm,
me is very humbling. Like I am very,
mm,
if that was the case, then I mean I'm okay with that. Like
mm,
that's the beauty of the industry, right? And that's the beauty of open source is that you know multiple different ideas can stem from the same concept, right?
mm,
Um,
mm.
and there's hundreds of different ways to handle how that interaction takes place. So,
Yeah, true. And by the way, Mathesh is in our How to SFMC only. Okay,
yeah,
you can ping him also. I think and if you want to have some discussion with him also, he's a very approachable person and he can
yeah,
open up with this. And I think it will maybe help you also to understand. Okay, I might not be able to help you understand what is they are doing, but this is just an overview for me. So
yeah,
I think there's a very interesting point for. So let's go to How to SFMC.
sure,
Okay, so because I touched SFMC with Mathesh, so now I just let's go to. So you are in admin in SFMC. Sorry, How to SFMC. Okay,
yes,
now you are also one of the co-founder for How to SFMC, right?
yep,
So uh, I asked yesterday. I asked Gina, okay, how they came up with this idea of How to SFMC.
sure,
So let me ask you, how you people thought like, okay, let's create one Slack community about how to efficiency. How this your what do you say? The thought process among you people came that okay, let's create a
yeah.
different Slack.